Hey guys, man, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to really go into, I really want to just give my opinion on SpaceX, right? And let me, before I even start talking about SpaceX, I want people to understand SpaceX is going to be one of the greatest wealth creations, right? That I could really think of, to be honest, but not wealth creation for us, the retail investors, right? This is gonna be the greatest wealth creations, right? For I believe, based off of the little that I know, I do think that this could be in the argument of one of the greatest wealth creations for the rich. And the reason I want to say for the rich is because imagine if we had the opportunity to invest, right, in SpaceX before they went public years and years ago, guys. And this is going to be kind of like a story, but I remember when space stocks, you had Virgin Galactic, right? You had Blue Origin, the Amazon space stocks. And I think it was like in 2018, man, or 2020. I can't really remember the exact date. But all these space stocks, everybody was so interested in these space stocks. And, you know, I remember I wanted to be able to invest. This was before I became the investor that I am today. I wanted to invest into SpaceX. I wanted to invest into Blue Origin, right? But unfortunately, there was in public, right? So I had no other choice but to invest in Virgin Galactic to get that exposure. And if you look at Virgin Galactic has been a complete failure of a company, right? And if you really like, I love that I learned from, I did make money on that, but I should have lost money. I love that I am the investor that I am today. I don't care about the stories, right? And I tell that to every investor, every person who's interested in jumping into the market. I tell them you have to ignore the story and you have to look at the numbers. If you look at the story of what Virgin Galactic was trying to be and what the numbers actually said, because the numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. The story is a fairy tale, right? And Virgin Galactic, it is gonna go bankrupt. They're gonna be delisted from the market. It's just a matter of time. We don't even hear anything about Blue Origin. I don't even know. I don't even know what they're doing anymore. But now SpaceX, imagine if you was able to invest $10,000, $20,000 into SpaceX, and how it's a private company. We don't even know, right? We don't really know what the valuation was. But let's say the company was worth, I don't know, 50 billion, maybe anywhere from 10 to 50 billion. And now in a few years, you know, it's pretty much gonna get to 2 trillion. Like pretty much, I'm pretty sure that SpaceX is gonna get to 2 trillion. I really don't care that people are talking about, well, and the investors of SpaceX, the early investors into SpaceX, are not going to be able to sell their stock for 90, 120 days, a year, whatever. Who cares, right? Who cares if they can't sell? They just 100x one of a investment, right? They 100x if they put 50,000, maybe imagine if they put a million. These guys have hundreds of millions, to ridiculous amount of money that is waiting on them, right? And I hate, right, and I'm very passionate about this, and I feel like this is just the craziest finesse, right, for us as retail investors. Like, we wasn't able to invest in this privately owned company, right? And it's okay because a lot of privately owned companies don't make it. It seems like today a lot of privately owned companies are doing outstanding, but more privately owned companies go under, right? A lot of them go under. We're just talking about these few companies that are kind of generational, right? These private owned companies that are generational. But I just think it's just so disgusting, right? For us to be, I know there's a lot of people who are interested in buying SpaceX, but to imagine that you're going to buy this company that all these early investors are just, they want you to buy it. They want you to buy it. They want you to take this higher, right? And unfortunately, I know a lot of people are going to do it. This stock is going to be great for traders, man. I know traders are going to make a lot of money off of this. But please, don't buy this company, guys. You know, I've never given a recommendation to buy a company. You know, in my opinion, nobody should be buying this thing is crazy. You know, I made my first video and we talked about, you know, we don't know anything about this company. Now we have more information. Now we know the company is losing money. Now we know that they're investing heavily into whatever they're doing, whatever the hell this stuff, whatever they're doing, right? And this company is not generating a dollar of cash, right? And we're gonna give this company a $2 trillion valuation, right? And you have companies like Meta, you got companies like Broadcom, you know, Taiwan Semi, that are generating 10 to 30 billion dollars in free cash flow, right? And this company, right? This company, we're gonna say, yeah, this deserves to have a higher valuation than a Amazon, higher valuation than a Meta, higher valuation than a Walmart. And you know, I already talked about how I feel about Walmart being a $1 trillion company, but it's just ridiculous, guys. We're really investing in this company because it's Elon Musk, right? Basically, you're telling me the market is saying that anything that Elon Musk is thinking about is worth $2 trillion. That's what we're basically saying. We don't care. You're basically saying we don't care. We're not going to bet against Elon, right? And people might say, man, Tesla's a great example of not betting against them. I don't think Tesla's a great example of not betting against Elon because Tesla still doesn't deserve the valuation that is at, right? They're nowhere close to what we think they should be. But, you know, that's another video for another time. But this is just ridiculous, right? This is just ridiculous, right? They're making $18 billion. They're not generating, their company's not profitable. They're not generating any cash. And here, we're just going to give them a $2 trillion valuation? What? What are we doing? What are we thinking? It's crazy. What are we doing? Do you guys understand if you buy this, right? All these institutions who invested, these capital funds, these accredited investors who was able to invest in this thing at the early stages are going to make a ridiculous amount of money. That we're going to help these guys make even more money. It's just crazy. Like, you know, I think this is like the biggest slap in the face as a retail investor. Like, they're expecting us to buy this thing hand over fist. When this thing is not, it's just crazy. You know, it's just crazy to me. And I might have to go to the gym right now because I'm a little upset. And I know I love investing, but I feel like this is like the biggest slap in the face of a retail investor. Is because they're expecting us to buy this. Like, this is like the biggest slap in the face because they're really expecting us to buy this. And it's gonna go up, right? It's gonna go up because with a $2 trillion evaluation, it has to be added into the SPY. And potentially, I don't know, like I have to look at the requirements, but it has to be added into the SPY in the Fortune 500. It has to be added into all these indices, right? And it's gonna make the stock go up, right? Like, it's gonna make the stock go up. The stock is gonna be successful, right? It's gonna go up. But this is the biggest slap in the face, in my opinion, man. Like, they're just basically saying, like, they're giving us this garbage. They're giving us garbage and be like, yeah, feast on it, right? And it really is upsetting. So I might go pretty hard in my workout today because I'm going to be thinking about this all day, that, we wasn't able to get into this thing when it was dirt cheap. And now they're going to tell us, with these crazy stories, they're going to say like, yeah, this deserves a $2 trillion valuation. And, with the ridiculous, I think they said what the expected market is what, 28.5 trillion. What fairy tale numbers are we even talking about? Like, ridiculous. And I noticed my tone is a lot different from my other videos. In my other videos, I love giving more information and talking about great investments. But this right here is really, really got me upset, right? To see these numbers and to think that, they're just giving us this garbage. Like, here, guys, we're expecting you guys to buy this garbage. But hey, who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe this company will be, you know, one of the, I don't know, you know what, maybe, yeah, whatever, right? But hey, guys, like I said, be careful if you're gonna buy this, if you're gonna trade this. Good luck. Um, yeah, man, crazy. I'm gonna definitely want to, look more into it, because I couldn't be wrong. This could be maybe one of the greatest companies to ever come out. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. Give me your opinion on this company, and I'll see you guys for the next one.